What's going on, everyone? Brett here. Hey, I just get constantly bombarded about questions regarding drones. We're a couple weeks from Christmas, and everybody wants to know, what drone do we get? What drone should I get? Well, that's a difficult question to answer. It depends on what you are looking for in a drone. Do you want it for fun and goofing off and racing around? Do you want it for family photos and serious photography? Do you want it for work? Do you want it for some other purpose that I haven't heard of, for science, for teaching? Myriad possibilities. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my drone options and what I would recommend if it was someone in my family asking me what drone should I get. First of all, there are lots of options out there. Most of you have probably seen one like this. I don't even know what this is called. I think it's called an Eachine, and it is, I think my AirPods are heavier than this. It's a really cheap little drone. It doesn't have a stabilized camera. It's got a fixed lens, little tiny lens, doesn't do anything. Relatively easy to fly. Super weak radio signal. So if you get it more than maybe 150, 200 feet from you, there's a chance you could lose it. It might just stop responding and fly away. Also, it probably doesn't handle being outside in the wind beyond a very gentle breeze. It's just gonna be a challenge. No GPS or optical stabilization, and so you're flying it completely and trying to keep it in one spot. Difficult to fly, really cheap. I think you can buy these for, $75 or something. Way more than it's worth. This thing I wouldn't give $20 for. But a lot of people ask me about them, so that's what I'm telling you, the honest truth. It's got a camera. It's a terrible camera. These antennas are just plastic. There is no antenna inside these little protrusions. It's junk. Don't get one of these unless you're getting it for a 6-year-old kid and they're going to trash it by Christmas morning, by Christmas dinner time, and you don't care about that. Don't buy one of these. Don't waste your time. They're junk. If you want it to be a good drone, this is a very similar option to that, much bigger. This has carbon brushes in the motors. It's not a brushless motor, and gears that make contact with these spindles and turn the propellers. It's very, very loud. The camera is not stabilized. It moves up and down a little bit if you're lucky. Terrible camera. Has a big battery in the back that'll last maybe 15 minutes on a good day. It does have, no, this one doesn't. There's no obstacle avoidance or position hold. It's just going to be you flying it, and hopefully you keep it in one place and don't crash it. Cheap radio that it comes with, connects and talks with a smartphone. So you connect it to a really hard to understand mobile app that's mostly in Chinese, and you try to get it on your screen so you can see what the drone's seeing. It's $100. I think you can get one of these for $100 on Temu or Banggood or maybe even Amazon, but don't waste your money. These are junk. The next option up is the one I'm going to recommend to most of my friends and family, and I'll grab one out of the car here. This is the next step up, and honestly, for the vast majority of you who have never had one before and really don't have any big plans to do anything major with a drone, this is the one you want to get right now in 2023. This is the DJI Mini 2 SE. It's a folding drone. It's super light. It weighs 249 grams, and that'll make sense to you in a minute. Uses a little battery that you can remove out of the back of it here, like that. It's fairly light. It has a 1080p and 2.7K video camera and photo. I think it's 12 megapixels, so you can take really nice little photo, about like a smartphone quality cell phone pictures, and great 1080p HD video with it. Super stable. It's a stabilized camera on a 3-axis gimbal with excellent optical quality. It has GPS position hold, return to home. If you lose it, it'll come back. It doesn't have any built-in automatic obstacle avoidance, so you can crash this and destroy it fairly easily if you do dumb things with it. But if you're watching the drone, looking at it, paying attention to it, making sure your battery's not too low while you're flying, this drone is perfect for most beginners. You're looking at maybe $300, $350 right now for this drone and this radio. The cool thing about this radio, no joke, this radio connects to your smartphone and it works for Apple and Android devices and some Google. The little sticks for your thumbsticks stow away underneath it and screw right in there. This thing will last several flights. You'll go through multiple batteries on this before this needs to be charged. Got a built-in battery, and you can control photos and video from it. Goes about 25 miles an hour. It can stay in the air for about half an hour, and it has a long range. You can fly it, a couple thousand yards. Like I don't know what the actual thing is, but they say 4 kilometers, which is insane. You can't fly that far with these. It's illegal, but it can be done if you have a straight, solid signal. So, $350. You can get it on DJI's website right now. You might even be able to get a used one on eBay. They're all over the place, and they're going away, so they won't be around for a horribly long time. But definitely a great little drone. The best thing about this drone beyond all of that is that as long as you're not doing this for work, as long as you're not using it as a commercial pilot for income, and you're just a hobbyist using it recreationally, you don't have to register this drone with the Federal Aviation Administration. And the same applies right now, today, December 16th, 2023, in Europe, in Canada. There are quite a few places you can still fly this drone, and those rules have changed for a lot of other drones where you have to go through a lot of hoops to fly them. So this is probably the best option for most people right here. If that's all you're looking for, you don't need to watch the rest of this video. But if you want to know what else is out there and what kind of cool stuff you can get, if you've already got a couple drones and you want to step it up, then there are other options available. This is an FPV drone. Sorry, I'm getting the sniffles. It's cold here in Idaho. This is a first-person view FPV Cinewhip drone. It's called the DJI Avata. It has a stabilizing camera, just like the others. It's a 2-axis stabilized camera. And then it has 4K resolution. Great little battery like this. This drone you use with goggles, and what an experience that is. That is so much fun. You wear these goggles and you see what the drone is seeing, so it really feels like you're actually flying. Quite an experience. It uses a radio like this, a motion controller, and you just pull the trigger to go fast, let off the trigger to slow down, twist like this to turn right and left, up and down, climb, descend, all kinds of cool things. You can record and switch to video and stills back and forth. You can also go to sport mode or stop mode or slow mode, cine mode. And you can slam on the brakes if you have something coming up you're about to hit. There's all kinds of cool features. These are a lot of fun. About $1,200 for that with a couple batteries with it. Pretty cool deal. Next thing up, this is the DJI Mini 3 Pro. This is also a 249 gram drone. So the same kind of rules as that Mini 2 SE. It doesn't have to be registered with the FAA if you're only using it recreationally as a hobbyist and you're not using it for work. Then it doesn't have to be registered with the FAA. I flew this in Europe, I've flown it in Canada. It has forward and rear and downward obstacle avoidance. So flying directly forward or directly back, when you have it engaged and turned on, it sees obstacles in the daytime and will avoid hitting them most of the time. And then it's got a 3-axis gimbal stabilized camera with 4K capability. It shoots 4K. It's a fantastic little drone. And with the battery that comes with it, 30-35 minutes in the air. Pretty good in the wind too. Not great, but okay. I've flown it in 15 or 20 mile an hour winds and not had any real issues with it. And this one, there are multiple options. You can buy this drone with this controller with using a smartphone for about $750 for this drone. You can buy it with this controller, which has a built-in screen and much farther transmission range, not having to use your telephone, so you don't get a phone call from your mom or your sister when you're right in the middle of flying, come up on your screen, and you lose what you're looking at. So great little drone, about $900, $950 with the professional radio that's got the built-in monitor. And then you've got the brand new, just released this last month, the DJI Mini 4 Pro. This is just the step up to this. It's got pretty much the exact same camera. That's not going to make a whole lot of difference, but this drone has much better options. It's got a LED light on the bottom, so you can light things up on the ground when you're about to land and see where it's landing. Helps a bunch when you're trying to land, especially in low light. It also has omnidirectional obstacle avoidance, which means that now you can fly forward and backwards and avoid crashing into things for the most part when it's light outside, and you can fly sideways without crashing into things in good light when it's light outside. And it also has landing assistance. It has GPS, has 4K 100 FPS, so it'll shoot in super slow motion 4K video. I think it's got, I can't remember the specs on the camera, but pretty darn good stills and video. It shoots in HDR mode, so it'll do bursts of 5 or 7, 3, 5 or 7, I believe, HDR. It shoots in D-Log, which is something that most people don't care about, but it's a color profile that allows you to match colors with other cameras that aren't made by the same manufacturer. So it's something that comes in handy for professional video. I've used this drone and others like the Mini 3 for pro work, and every bit as good as the really expensive ones out there in the right hands with the right knowledge. Again, this one doesn't, if you're playing with it for fun and using it recreationally, doesn't have to be registered with the FAA in the US because it's under that weight limit. There are some caveats with that, but we won't go into those details. That's for another time. So it has this little protective cover to keep you from trashing your propellers when you're packing it around. Nice and neat. And of course this one too. I just am lazy and didn't put it back on. But these are kind of nice to keep you from busting off propellers when you toss it in a bag. The cool thing about these little drones I like more than anything is like you can take them in your carry-on. In fact, you have to. And they just, I mean, you can stick this in your pocket. I mean, you can stick this whole drone down inside your pocket. So, I mean, who wouldn't want that? I mean, you can't do that with the other ones. Same thing with this one. This one has a new radio, and you can also get one like this with the DJI Mini 4 Pro, like this that uses your phone. These are actually about the same price. They're within $50 of each other. So this one is $1,000 with the drone, a battery, and a radio. But this radio, wow, buddy, this one has range that I never thought was possible. They're saying 12 kilometers. It'll just punch through and keep a solid signal so you can see where the drone is, see what it's doing on the screen, even in thick timber and things like that. It's illegal to go beyond visual line of sight with the drone. You need to keep it in sight, but if you needed to get through thick, brushy or buildings and things like that, and you got a lot of interference, this radio really punches through that. Okay, so if you're gonna go nutso and you don't have any money, you just want something really awesome camera, amazing camera, you can buy an older drone. This is about a 2016 model, and this is the DJI Phantom 3 Advanced, and it shoots in HD. It shoots 1080p, has downward obstacle avoidance and downward position hold, so it'll stay in a nice stable hover when you launch it and take off with it. Stabilized camera, nice and smooth. You have to use a phone and an older mobile app with it, but this is a really great drone for the image that it produces. So if you want to do beautiful photography for super cheap, you could probably pick one of these up used for like $300 or $400. And these batteries you can buy still on eBay nowadays, new, unused, for like $80, $75 for a new battery. And this will stay in the air maybe 20-25 minutes on a really good day, on a day when you've been lucky. And then we have this is a Skydio drone. This is not made by DJI, but this is an autonomous drone. You can manually fly it with a remote controller, like like normal with your phone attached to it with this radio, and look at the screen and take photos just like any of these others. But this one has obstacle avoidance and tracking capabilities all over it, and it you can just launch it in the air, jump in your car and drive, make it set itself to following and tracking your vehicle, or you on a bicycle or skis or a motorcycle or whatever, snowmobile. And you can set this drone up to just follow you. And I'm telling you, it's crazy. I tried it, and I never believed in that stuff, but I tried it. Drove my car down the road out in the backcountry somewhere. Nobody else was around, and this thing followed me, and it was going through trees and around corners, sideways and fast and backwards, and followed my car the whole time and never crashed, never struck any objects, which is insane to me that it can get away with that. But it did it. It worked great. It's a good little camera. They don't make this anymore, so you can get them used for maybe $1,200, $1,400 right now, and they're becoming very popular because of some litigation and legislation that's coming up that may make it difficult to operate DJI drones for certain purposes in the US. We're fighting that, but we don't know. So if you've got one of these already, don't get rid of it. And if you have the money to get one, might be a good idea to grab one, just because there might be a day when you have work to do with your drone and the law won't let you fly a DJI drone, and you may have to pop this in the system and use it. And then this is my primary drone that I use for work most of the time. This is the DJI Mavic 3 Pro, and there are two. I have a couple of these, but this one I use. It has three optical cameras in it, so it's got the ability to do some parallax, some compression, super telephoto lenses, along with all the other lens profiles that you use typically with a drone. It's super easy to fly, extra long battery life. This thing will go 43 minutes, 44 minutes in the air on one battery, in the right conditions. It's got dual LEDs for lighting things up underneath it at night so you can land safely. It's got obstacle avoidance, sonar obstacle avoidance, infrared obstacle avoidance for landing assistance. It's also got omnidirectional obstacle avoidance all the way around it, and upward obstacle avoidance too, which is kind of nice. So in good light, it's difficult to run this into stuff unless you turn that feature off, which you can do. And I've heard of people disabling that feature, going into a faster sport mode and crashing their drones, thinking it was protecting them. But anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent there. This is a with the professional radio. It's about a $3,000 setup. And with the Cine version that I have for using a different color profile, a professional color profile called ProRes, Apple ProRes, it is about $5,000. And this drone has an internal storage of 1 terabyte built in. So most of these drones, almost all of these drones, take a little micro SD card. This one takes one as well as a supplement. You can have it on both. But this has these all have little micro SD cards, but this drone also has an internal SSD, solid state drive, flash drive, that is a terabyte, which is amazing. So, and these are still available all over the country right now. You can get your hands on them. They're happy to sell them to you. I don't know if we can get them locally here where we live in Idaho, in North Idaho, as easily, because our Best Buy never has any of the new cool stuff, but Amazon can have it to you in a couple of days. So that's just the shopping guide. That's not all the details. If you have any specific questions about the attributes of any of these and why you would or wouldn't get them, or how I feel about them, or any suggestions, feel free to shoot me a private message and I'll try to answer you. All right, so that's Brett signing off. You guys have a wonderful Christmas, and happy droning.